Okay,
get to the
co-main
big
event
ones.
time, gentlemen. In the featherweight division, Yair Rodriguez El Pantera takes on Josh Emmett. What a featherweight fight. My God.
For the interim title. Don't forget
Oh,
that.
that's right. That's right. Oh, man.
You're
Gold
gonna
on
hold
the
on
line.
to it
Forget
until Volk gets back.
Forget it. Okay, you have Yair Rodriguez on one side. He's the 30-year-old out of Parral, Mexico. 14-3 with 1 no contest, 5 knockouts on his record. 3 subs added to that, coming off of a TKO shoulder injury victory over Brian Ortega. Not how anybody wanted that fight to go. It ended late in the first round. Before that, he lost a unanimous decision to Max Holloway. But Yair is one of the most exciting fighters on the entire roster. Don't get it wrong. Josh Emmett, a knockout highlight reel to rival anyone's. The 37-year-old out of Sacramento, California, 18-2 as a pro with 6 knockouts, coming off of a split decision victory over the very dangerous and very talented Calvin Kattar back in June. Mark, let me start with you this time for this co-main. Give us your take and your pick of Yair versus Emmett.
All right, Yair, a small favorite, or decent favorite, minus 165. Josh Emmett plus 135 as the dog. Yair's going to have 5 inches of height on his side, but only 1 inch of reach, though. This is a very weird title fight to me, to be honest. It feels weird because on one hand you have Yair, who in the last 40 months has a record of 1-1 with a loss to Max Holloway and an injury victory over Brian Ortega. Mm-hmm. So to have him in a title fight feels a little strange to me. Obviously, we know his talent. And then on the other side, you have Josh Emmett, who, of course, is on a 5-fight win streak. But, man, is he squeaking by in these last couple fights. Like, Dan Ige was a close-ass decision. I did maybe barely see that for Emmett. But Dan Ige is certainly no title contender. And then Calvin Kattar, he squeaks by. And I'm not sure that was the right call. So it feels a little odd for Josh to be in this spot as well. But one of these guys is about to have a belt wrapped around their waist. So usually you kind of see more convincing runs into title fights than these. But that aside, these guys are both talented fighters for sure. And one of them is going to get a crack at Volk after Saturday. So huge opportunity for them. As I said, Yair will be taller in there, a bit longer. Josh has been the shorter fighter before, though, plenty of time, so he knows how to deal with that. We all know the power of Josh Emmett, and Yair is not a guy who doesn't get hit. Like, he's not one of these guys who's always so clean in there. He does get hit. A lot of times he plays the take one to give one game, which is not really something you want to be playing with Josh Emmett. But Yair does have a chin, though. And I just tend to think that he is too good and too dynamic of a striker to be put down by Josh Emmett. I mean, he's so dangerous on the feet that he turned Max Holloway into a wrestler, which no one does. So, and granted, Josh Emmett can wrestle. I think that could actually be a really interesting and smart wrinkle for him to introduce to this fight. So I wouldn't rule that out. But Yair has also improved his scrambling immensely ever since getting wrecked by Frankie Edgar some years back. And on the feet, Emmett is so good in the way that he closes distance and builds power by kind of like weaving his head low, almost leading with it so he can kind of close in and then he swings over the top. But I also think that kind of style puts his head out there for a guy who is precise enough and quick enough to take advantage of it. And I think Yair Rodriguez is that guy. I think that Emmett's head is out there. When he steps in and loads up and I think strikes up the middle can take advantage of that. And against a guy who has every strike in the game, whether it's a lead elbow or a knee or a front kick or who knows what Yair Rodriguez, it'll be a backflip kick when coming from Yair Rodriguez. I just think with a guy who has that many weapons, that head is going to get hit. And I actually see a counter-jumping knee from Yair. So I'll get extra specific. And I'll say he does it in spectacular fashion. Round 3 knockout for Yair Rodriguez.
Wow. Okay, Omar, it's your turn. Give us your take, your thoughts on how this fight is going to go, and ultimately your pick.
Yair Rodriguez is my boy. That's just what it is. I was never going to pick against him. Could have been a logical pick. Could have been not. I was never going to pick against him. I am glad to say that if I am looking at this logically, I would probably still be picking for Yair Rodriguez. He is, like Mark said, a dynamic striker. The man comes from a lot of different angles. His movement is absolutely solid. He does take damage, but a lot of times for me, I feel like he takes the most damage when it comes to guys who are just as fast as him and or as dynamic as him. When it comes to guys who like to load up and guys who like to carry big power, I think he tends to read those guys a lot better, and I think he reacts a lot better as well. I think that he's one of these guys who will scrap, obviously, but I think he knows how to use his distance, and I think he uses his front head kick to kind of create that distance and maintain that distance as well. I'm excited to see what he's able to do here to Josh Emmett, because when we talk about the quality of the resume, we kind of fall back on the same argument here, where Yair has fought fucking everybody. I mean, Yair has a crazy ass resume for somebody who, you know, is as young as he is, but has been in the UFC since like his 7th or 8th fight. But he's fought Charles Rosa, Dan Hooker, Andre Fili, Alex Caceres, BJ Penn. And, you know, this was the tail end of BJ Penn, but like he lit BJ Penn up. Like that was a wild ass fight.
I forgot that was even a thing until you just said that.
Yeah, he beat the shit out of BJ Penn. That might have been the last one for BJ. I can't remember, but
Yeah.
And then he ran into Frankie Edgar, and that's when he realized that wrestling was a different thing, and he needed to be on a different level when it came to the wrestling. And then he got into the war of the century with Chan Sung Jung, and then ended up landing that beautiful elbow at the buzzer. Got eye poked by Jeremy Stevens, or poked Jeremy Stevens. I don't remember who did what. But eventually came back to beat Jeremy Stevens. Like, there's so much quality, so much meat and potatoes behind this man's resume that it's hard for me to pick against not only the talent, but also the quality of the wins that he has, and even the quality of the losses. So I'm going to go with Yair Rodriguez confidently here and say he is winning this fight by unanimous decision. And new interim champion, another fucking stud from Mexico, Yair, the fucking Panther.
Woo!
Let's go.
Is that his nickname, the Panther?
La Pantera.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, I did know that. Yair poked him. I had to look back. I said it backwards. Anyway,
I can't remember who. I guess it was. I was just thinking to myself, I know somebody came in the second fight with fucking goggles on. Who was a huge ass person? And then I was like, of course it was Jeremy Stevens. Yeah.
Michael.
Man, this is a close fight, in my opinion. Emmett has such great power, man, for the weight class. Such great power, especially in this phase of his career. I mean, I've his 18 victories, only 6 have come by knockout, but it just seems like in this chapter of his career, he really has unlocked, some kind of.
It does feel like it should be more than that, huh?
Yeah, right. Yeah, because he can light dudes up, man. He can light dudes up like the fucking World's Fair. But then again, Yair has incredibly dynamic and powerful striking, especially in his kicks, man. And I just feel like there's something special about Rodriguez. I feel like Josh Emmett has really put together quite a nice resume as of late, but I just feel like there's something special about Rodriguez. So I'm going to go with him. I think he's going to edge it out. I think this is going to be another late Yair Rodriguez finish. I'll say he's going to get a knockout in round 4. Nice. There you have it.
Omar, when did you say for yours?
Adam by decision.
Oh, decision.
I would love for him to finish Josh Emmett, but Josh Emmett is a tough bastard. So I'm not. And it's not like, Rodriguez lands a lot of opportunistic things, but I don't think he's going to overpower Josh Emmett. Totally possible he catches him some wild bullshit. But Josh Emmett is a tank of his own right. So I think it probably goes the full 5.